It happened during a backyard barbecue, one of those easygoing afternoons with burgers sizzling on the grill, kids running barefoot, and lawn chairs planted unevenly on fresh mulch. Nothing fancy. Just the kind of day where you bring a six-pack, get bit by a few mosquitoes, maybe walk away with a sunburn. I wasn't expecting anything major. I showed up to be there, lend a hand if needed, flip a few hot dogs, blend into the background like I always do. I wasn't there to make a point or stand out. Just showed up like I usually do. But then Grandma said something that turned everything sideways. She said it loud, all smiles like she was making a toast in my honor. "Your car loan's all paid off now," she beamed. 12 grand, it's no small thing but you're worth it. For a second I froze. "Grandma, I don't even have a car." And then? Silence. The kind that hits like a slap. The kind where forks hover in midair. She looked thrown off, just for a moment, glanced sideways with the slightest flicker of panic. And right then in she came. My sister, strolling in like she owned the place, holding up a shiny new set of keys like she just scratched a winning ticket. The fob caught the light, chrome and candy apple red. She grinned, acting like she hadn't heard a thing. And still, no one said a word. Not Mom, who was slicing watermelon. Not Dad, who stared down at his plate like it had something important to say. Not even Cousin Andrew, who normally couldn't resist cracking jokes. They just shifted. That's the only way I can put it. The whole table shifted. And that's when it hit me, this wasn't some mix-up. I wasn't supposed to find out. I wasn't supposed to ask questions. They'd opened a loan in my name. No warning. No heads up. They figured I wouldn't notice. Or maybe they thought I'd just take it, like I always had. Smile, nod, say something like, "Glad she's happy," and keep handing over pieces of myself. But I didn't raise my voice. Didn't cause a scene. I just sat there, skin prickling under the heat of the afternoon sun, and went right back to my chair like nothing happened. 2 hours later, while everyone else was inside cracking up over a TikTok on the big screen TV I gave them last Christmas, I pulled out my phone and checked my loan app. Approved. $12,000. In my name. Fully cleared. I didn't flinch. My fingers didn't shake. My jaw didn't clench. I just closed the app, checked the date, and took a screenshot. When I looked up, Grandma was walking toward me. She wasn't smiling anymore. Didn't look me in the eye. She just reached into her purse, pulled out this thick yellow folder, and slid it across the table like it was nothing. Like we were exchanging recipes. Didn't say a word. Didn't meet my eyes. I opened it. Inside were stacks of printouts, contracts, car dealership paperwork, documents that looked official. All of them signed. By me. Only thing was, I never signed a damn thing. That night, just after 2 in the morning, my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. 13 texts. 5 missed calls. 1 voicemail from my sister. Her message started with, "Please don't do anything crazy, okay?" I didn't call back. I didn't text. I didn't yell or post or threaten. I just went quiet. That folder sat on my kitchen counter for 3 days. I didn't touch it. Just let it sit there like some cursed object, waiting for me to dare crack it open again. On the 3rd night, when I couldn't sleep, I gave in and flipped through it again. And that's when the pattern came into focus. It wasn't just the car. There was a utility bill from last fall. Mom had said it was probably some glitch when I noticed I'd been charged twice. Turns out it wasn't. There was that second streaming service I was still being billed for, Dad's name on it, even though I'd deleted their profiles months ago. And there it was again, the $500 school deposit my sister asked for, just for now, for her kid. I never saw that money again. They never brought it up. I started matching dates, lining up charges. Every favor I'd done had quietly turned into some kind of obligation. Every dollar I handed over became a new expectation. And every time I stayed quiet, every time I didn't speak up, they took it as a green light. I wasn't family anymore. I was the funding. And the most painful part? They knew it. They were fully aware. That folder from Grandma had all the evidence. Not just emotionally, physically. Paper trails. Insurance policies. My private information, printed and copied. Page after page of bold moves made behind my back, disguised as love, but fueled by assumption and entitlement. The last page? It hit the hardest. There was my signature, clear as day, only it wasn't really mine. They'd taken an old form I signed years ago for a summer internship, photocopied it, and traced it onto a finance document. They hadn't even tried to hide it. And honestly, why would they? I was the dependable one. The one who never caused trouble. The one they figured would never blow up the piece. But suddenly, all these moments started flashing in my head. The birthday dinner I wasn't invited to because the table only seats 10, yet somehow, my bank showed a $600 catering charge. The wedding where I footed the bill for the flowers, and didn't even make it into the program. The group vacation where I booked the Airbnb, and got a thank you text meant for someone else. Each memory rearranged itself in my mind, not just as isolated slights, but as part of a long, quiet betrayal. A pattern. They didn't love me less. They just valued me more for what I gave than who I was. And the truth is, I let them do it. I let them pat me on the back for being lucky to even be included. I let them chuckle when I offered to chip in. Because honestly, that was the only way they ever really accepted me, when I was useful. When I gave. But now it was all right there in black and white. They had dropped $12,000 in my name, bought a car, handed the keys to my sister, and smiled like it was some kind of gift from the heavens. They just assumed I'd do what I always did, quietly cover the bill, disappear, and sit around hoping for some tiny sliver of appreciation that never showed up. But this time, they misjudged me. This time, my eyes opened, and I saw the whole damn picture. That night, I sat down and logged into every bank account I had. I reset every password, shut off autopays, and ran a credit report. Then I picked up the phone and called the dealership. "Hi," I said calmly, "I believe a car may have been purchased under my name and I didn't authorize it." There was a pause on the other end. Then the guy said, "Is your name Kevin?" "Yeah." He sighed. "Figured you'd call," he told me. His voice still had that smooth, polite customer service tone, but underneath it, there was something else. He knew. Maybe not the whole story, not yet. But he'd seen stuff like this before. Disasters dressed up in family loyalty. "You're listed as the official owner," he added. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I stared down at the folder Grandma had slid across the table like it was evidence in a trial. I hadn't slept. My body was calm, but inside I felt sharp. Razor sharp. I didn't want some half-hearted apology. I wanted control. I was done being quiet. "You'll be picking up the car tonight," I said. Another pause. "Understood, sir. I'll start the repossession process now." I ended the call and opened my laptop. For the next 7 hours, I turned into their worst-case scenario. The quiet one who finally spoke up, loudly. Phase 1. Reclaiming boundaries. I started with the shared accounts. Netflix? Gone. Every profile deleted, including the one Grandma used for her favorite show. Spotify? Back to the free version. 5 people suddenly remembered what ads sound like. Amazon Prime? Cancelled. No more 2-day shipping for birthday gifts they never bothered to send me. I reset my password manager. Any login we used to share, erased. The smart home? I built it. Now I tore it down. Thermostat? But security cameras? Disabled. Wi-Fi? Unplugged from the private business hub I ran it through. Cloud storage? Cancelled. Their photos, old documents, shared family calendars, gone, vanished from the shared space they thought would last forever. My phone started buzzing in less than 2 hours. "Mom, hey, is something wrong with the Wi-Fi?" "Dad, why is the thermostat on the wrong setting?" "My sister, the camera app's saying I don't have access?" I didn't write back. I wasn't even close to done. Phase 2, financial separation. Their mortgage? I had co-signed. Just temporarily, they said. Until things stabilize. Thing is, they never stabilized, because they never had to. I was the cushion. The fallback. I logged into the lender's portal and started the process of removing my name from the loan. It triggered an automatic financial review. Within the hour, the bank called me. "I'm concerned," the rep said. Without your backing, they may not qualify. Good, I replied. He didn't fight me. 2 days later, I got an email with an updated loan projection. Their monthly payment would nearly double if I pulled out. Refinance or lose the house. I didn't say a word. I let them find that out over breakfast. Let the panic set in when the cushion finally vanished. Phase 3, Asset Audit. I kept digging. Past the obvious stuff, bills and subscriptions. I found the lease on the storage unit. The one holding all the family heirlooms. I'd been paying for it for years. I found their business insurance for the home office. Registered under my name. The family photo site we all used during the holidays? My hosting account. I deleted it. Then I checked the domain name for my dad's little tax prep gig. Guess who'd been footing the renewal bill for 6 straight years? I moved it to a private registrar, locked it tight. I contacted the CPA software company and pulled their license. Their records? Inaccessible now. Their auto-renewal? Turned off. I didn't steal anything. I simply took back what was mine. Phase 4, System Shutdown. When I started my company, a full-stack IT and back-end infrastructure firm, I gave them free access to professional-grade tools. The kind of services I charged big clients for. Network security, encrypted backups, optimized systems. They thought I was just being generous. They never read the fine print. I logged into the back-end system and reclassified their accounts, my parents' firm, my uncle's clinic, from family, free, to terminated. The servers queued up for a full shutdown. I left a simple message on their admin dashboards. This infrastructure has been maintained at no cost since 2016. As of now, all services are discontinued. No drama. No explanations. Just clean, digital severance. At 6:12 p.m., my uncle left me a voicemail, his voice full of confusion and panic. We can't log in. Everything's gone. Were we hacked? Please call. I didn't. At 6:45, my dad texted, "You've gone too far. This isn't just about the car." He was right. It wasn't. It hadn't been for a long time. Phase 5, Strategic Exposure. I still have the proof. Screenshots. The dealership paperwork with my forged signature. The loan approval stamped with my name. That folder Grandma handed me, yeah, the one full of fake signatures and forged trust. I took it and scanned every page, compiled the whole mess into a single PDF. Timestamps, file names, clean layout. No drama, just the facts. Then I sent that file to 3 people, our family's accountant, a fraud investigator I'd once worked with through a past client, and my attorney. By 9 p.m., things were already in motion. The car? Gone, repossessed. The fraud? Reported and logged. Every financial tie I had to them? Cut clean. The infrastructure they relied on? And their secrets? All backed up, organized, documented. But you want to know what really shook them? The silence. I didn't yell. Didn't throw a fit on social media. Didn't call anyone to vent. Because this silence, it wasn't retreat. It was a decision. A final judgment. By midnight, I had 112 missed calls. 13 from my sister. 21 from Dad. 2 voicemails from Grandma. 1 all sobs, the other angry and sharp. I didn't play either of them. I already knew what they'd say. You're destroying this family. But no, that wasn't me. They'd been breaking it apart for years. I just finally stopped taping it back together. They weren't calling to say sorry. That's not how they work. They were calling to reassert control, to spin it their way, to drag me back into the mess and remind me that no matter what they did, I was still supposed to play along. Still one of them. The night they lost the car, my phone didn't stop lighting up. Group chats I never asked to be in suddenly came alive like someone dropped a grenade. My sister was first. They said the car's gone. What did you do? Then Mom, please, just call us. We don't understand. Why are you doing this? Then Dad, this is childish. You're embarrassing yourself. I left them all on read. They weren't actually confused. They knew exactly what had happened. They just couldn't believe I'd finally done something about it. At 2:36 a.m., another call came in. My sister again. Crying now. They said there might be charges. I didn't think they'd actually take the car. I thought you'd fix it. I didn't say a word. Just ended the call. Because that was the root of it all. They never believed my actions had any real consequences. They figured they could steal, forge, lie, and I'd show up with duct tape and a checkbook. Like always. But this time, I didn't patch things up. By the next morning, the desperation had started to curdle into something uglier. My aunt, of course, posted on Facebook, "Heartbreaking when family turns against you." But the truth always surfaces. We have the receipts. Receipts. That's what they were calling the fake documents they filled out under my name. Like proof of purchase. Like I'd willingly paid for the betrayal. I didn't answer. I let the silence speak louder than anything I could have written. But the tone shifted fast, from guilt trips to outright slander. You always wanted attention. Well, now you've got it. You ruined your sister's life over a mistake. We supported you when no one else did. This isn't justice, it's cruelty. You think this makes you powerful? It just makes you pathetic and alone. They threw every emotional weapon they had at me. Shame, guilt, pity, blame. Every lever, except the only one that mattered, accountability. And when none of that worked, they escalated. They showed up. At my apartment. No heads up. No phone call. Just fists pounding on my door, voices raised in the hallway. Talk to us. You're still our son. And then Dad. You'll regret this. You always come back. Just wait. I didn't open the door. Didn't even move from the couch. They weren't there to listen. They came to reset the balance, back to me being quiet and them staying comfortable. Later that night, I got an email from my mother. The subject line read, "You've made your point." The body of the message was short and sharp. "We're speaking to a lawyer. This isn't fraud, it's family. If you continue harassing us, we'll pursue legal action." They wanted to flip the narrative. Make me the villain. Make my fraud report look like revenge instead of what it was. The truth. I didn't respond. Instead, I did the one thing they never expected. I sat with it. I let the silence settle in and spread like fog. Let them feel the void where the fixer used to be. Let the absence of the reliable one hit them harder than any words could. And it worked. The next day, the messages changed tone. They softened. "Please talk to us. You've made your point. We're falling apart here. We didn't mean for it to get this far." Then my sister again. I didn't know what they were doing. I thought you'd be okay. But she did know. They all did. They just thought I wouldn't fight back. That I'd stay quiet. Like I always had. And when they lost that silence, they lost their safety net. That week, I met with my lawyer. Sat across from him with a laptop full of evidence. Screenshots, the dealership contract, the forged paperwork, the call logs. He looked at it all and asked, "You want to press charges?" "No," I said. "Just have everything ready. In case they do." He nodded. Smart. They won't see it coming. He was right. Because what they'd come to count on wasn't resistance. It was resignation. The tired shrug. The soft-spoken, "It's fine." But not this time. I wasn't blocking them out with some grand, theatrical goodbye. I wasn't going no contact for attention. I was just letting it all collapse under its own weight. Quietly. Cleanly. That weekend, my sister sent one more text. Just a single line. "Are you done? Because I'm about to lose everything." I stared at it for a long time. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I typed out, "No." Then deleted it. Not because I changed my mind, but because I realized something deeper. Something scarier than any response I could have written. I had nothing left to say. This wasn't about revenge. It was about responsibility. And for the first time, it was final. I hadn't planned to go public. At first, the silence felt better, cleaner, colder, more precise. But then, they started talking. It wasn't just behind the scenes anymore. Not just whispers or quiet messages. They went public first. My sister kicked it off with a post on Instagram. One of those soft-lit selfies where the tears are perfect, like they rehearsed the pain. Mascara streaked just enough to sell the story. Her caption read, It's hard when the people you thought were your forever turn out to be your lesson. So grateful for the ones still standing beside me. In under an hour, she had over 200 likes. The comments were all hearts, hugs, and sympathy. Friends tagging each other, offering support she didn't earn. DMs were flying. Family reshared it like scripture. And I watched the narrative shift. Suddenly I was the problem. The unstable brother. The bitter one who finally cracked and destroyed everything. The guy who took back a car like it was a toy, leaving his baby sister stranded. The one who shut down the Wi-Fi, locked the Netflix, and held the whole family hostage over what they called a misunderstanding. I scrolled through the comments. You don't deserve this. Some people just need control. Cutting toxic people is hard, but necessary. No one stopped to ask what actually happened. No one wanted to hear my side. And that's when it hit me. If I didn't step up and say something now, they'd run the whole story. Twist it their way. On the narrative. So I got to work. Not with rage. Not with a meltdown. With a file. I pulled everything together, screenshots, contracts, call records. The dealership documents with my forged signature. Financial records from grandma's folder. Group chat screenshots. Even the bank email, the one that confirmed my name had been used illegally. All of it. Organized. Time-stamped. Then I sat down and wrote my post. Not on Facebook. Not on Instagram. I put it on LinkedIn. Because that's where my real community lived. The people who knew me as reliable, steady, professional. Not dramatic, just solid. The title said it all. When family crosses the line. A cautionary thread on financial exploitation and identity misuse. And then I told the story. Not with emotion. Just the facts. How my name got used for a $12,000 car loan I never agreed to. How the car ended up in someone else's hands. How the reaction wasn't guilt or apology, it was a smear campaign. I didn't use names. I didn't have to. Everyone who needed to understand, understood. By that evening, the post had over 30,000 views. And the messages started coming in. Not from strangers, but from people I hadn't heard from in years. Old coworkers, classmates, even a cousin I hadn't seen since high school reached out. Thanks for saying it. I thought I was the only one. By the next day, my inbox was packed. Not just with support, but with stories. One guy wrote, "My dad forged my name for a student loan. Still says it was to help me." Another, "My sister used my social security number to open a credit card. Still blames me." They all called it helping. I used to call it that too. I hadn't meant to start a movement. But I'd hit something raw. And my family noticed, fast. That night, my mom rang my phone 11 times. No voicemails. Just silence on the other end. My dad sent an email with the subject line, "Take it down." Inside it said, "You're embarrassing all of us. If you think airing our private business makes you strong, you're wrong. Take it down, or there will be consequences." He signed it with his full name. Like he was writing to a stranger. I didn't respond. Instead, I pinned the post to the top of my profile. Then I emailed the PDF file, with every receipt, to the family's accountant. Just in case they tried claiming the car or any of it on their taxes. I wrote a simple note. In the event of an audit, please know I did not authorize or initiate this purchase. Financial misuse has been reported. Full documentation attached. No emotion. Just insurance. That same night, my cousin Ellie called. "I saw everything," she said, her voice trembling. Then she added, "You should know, they're saying you're dangerous. That you're trying to destroy the family on purpose. That you've lost your mind." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because of how predictable it all was. That's what people do when the scapegoat burns the mask. But Ellie wasn't finished. "There was a meeting," she whispered. "Grandma, Uncle Ray, your mom, they all showed up. They had printouts. Fake messages. Stuff you never sent." I froze. "You're sure?" I asked. "I saw one. It said you were building a revenge fund. That you were planning to sue everyone." I didn't argue. Just thanked her. Then I made another copy of the PDF file and labeled it. Prepared response, reputation defense. And I did the thing I'd been putting off for weeks. I sent everything to my lawyer. The LinkedIn post. The slander. The threats in the family group chat. The screenshots Ellie quietly sent me. He responded in 10 minutes. Let's talk Monday. But just FYI, this is already enough for defamation, fraud, and civil litigation. I didn't want to sue, but I wanted to be ready. Because real power doesn't come from shouting. It comes from receipts. By the next morning, the cracks were showing. Uncle Ray messaged me, "Take the post down. You're humiliating your parents." Then Grandma chimed in, "You should be ashamed of dragging us through the mud like this." And my sister? Just one line. "I hope it was worth it." For the first time, I responded. I typed, "It wasn't worth it. It was necessary." Then I blocked her. Not out of anger. Out of peace. Because when someone steals your identity, not just your name, but your emotional worth, you don't owe them closure. You owe yourself freedom. I hadn't gone public to get back at anyone. I did it to breathe again. And when I finally closed my laptop that night, it hit me, they weren't mad because I lied. They were mad because I told the truth. And now, for the first time, everyone could see them without their mask. They didn't come asking for forgiveness. They came demanding access. They weren't looking to heal. They were trying to reclaim something they thought they still owned, me. It was a Sunday. Quiet. One of those soft mornings where you sip coffee with the window cracked just enough to hear the breeze. I was reading kind messages from people who finally saw me, not as the problem, not as the bitter one, but as someone who survived, and finally stopped surviving. And then the doorbell rang. My sister standing just behind them, wearing sunglasses like grief was part of her outfit. They looked like door-to-door preachers selling redemption. Mom was holding a box. I didn't ask what was in it. Dad spoke first. "We just want to talk." I didn't say a word. Mom extended the box like it was a peace offering. "It's everything. The receipts. The car title. The accounts. We're fixing it." I let them talk. They said the words they thought would make it all better. That I'd always been loved. That they didn't realize how I felt. That they were stressed. That they panicked. But here's the thing. When people finally understand they've lost control, they act like they never wanted it in the first place. My sister stayed quiet until the very end. Then, like I knew she would, she said it. "We were a family once. Before all this." All this meant the truth. The boundaries. The part where I stopped paying for her comfort. I stepped outside, closed the door behind me, not to invite them in, but to finish the conversation on my terms. I looked my dad in the eye. "You didn't lose a car. You lost the right to ask." I turned to my mom. "You didn't lose your son. You lost the shield of my silence." Then I faced my sister. I had to redefine what I'm willing to give. They just stood there, waiting. For a crack. For my voice to tremble. For me to say, "But you're still my family." I didn't say it. I told them, "There's no going back. Not because I hate you, but because I finally like myself too much to crawl back into that cage." Mom whispered, "So this is it?" I nodded. No dramatic goodbye. Just this. My dad looked at me like I was a stranger. And for once, he was right. The person he remembered would have offered to pay for lunch. Would have apologized for making things uncomfortable. Would have offered to drive them home. But I wasn't that person anymore. They left without another word. No threats. No tears. Just the sound of a car door slamming shut. I didn't watch them drive off. Didn't wait to see if they came back. I walked inside. Sat back down at my table. Took a sip of my coffee. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I owed anyone anything.